Afternoon all, how we doing? Morning Fanor, David, Rahat, how's everybody doing? All good? I've had some news, not a lot. We had some though. The CPIs came out ever so slightly positive for the CAD. Everything else was just sort of mediocre. And US dollar retail sales were down quite dramatically, actually. The core retail sales were down 0.7%. Oh, excuse me. Which is, it was obviously 4.4, so they were forecasting a massive drop anyway, but it was a little bit worse than they expected. So, not very good for the US dollar. But afternoon, Minpo. The Dixie hasn't really done a massive amount off of the news, so business as usual, really. Hi, David. Yeah, so bit of a near sort of news today. Looking at the CADs, didn't really get any movement off the CAD either. So the whole market seems to be sitting waiting for FOMC this afternoon, basically, or this evening, 6 o'clock. So I don't think we're going to get an awful lot of movement in the New York session either. If you have a look at most pairs, obviously London range was very, very tight on the Aussie CAD anyway. Aussie Swiss has moved a little bit, so we've had a little bit of movement there, but there's nothing dramatic going on at the moment. Not bad actually, movement across the board on some of the pairs, but others are a bit meh. So the Euros had a bit of a spike this morning at the Open, some of them. But it's all kind of retraced again. So again, it's all very, very much of a muchness at the moment. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So nothing dramatic to write home about at the moment. Afternoon, Trevor. You're on time today. That's good. So yens, basically, if we have a flick through all the yens, New Zealand yen is up, pound yen is up, euro yen is up, Swissy hasn't, but CAD yen is up. So we've got a weak yen again. Still nothing much going on with the yen. And everything else is kind of sideways. All the trades I had, which took out with the EA, are still exactly where they were this morning. So nothing moved. But yeah, very, very dull. So indices have had a bit of movement this morning. The DAX had a bit of a push this morning, but afternoons, it all came down really hard. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. The dog woke me up and I couldn't get to sleep. So yeah, had a big push up this morning. DAX has come back down to kind of London Open, really. So again, nothing there to write home about. Nasdaq's done very much the same thing. We had a push up out of London, and pre-market it's kind of coming back down again. So it's all kind of resetting itself. Very weird session. So nothing much, obviously, as you'd imagine, on the ADRs. We didn't get anywhere this morning. We've had a bit of movement up, a bit of movement down, but nothing dramatic to write home about. Could have traded it on low time frames, but nothing much. So nothing's hit there. We've got a couple more weeklies. Aussie New Zealand has hit its weekly. Only just though, we weren't there in Asia, so we've just about hit it during the during the London session. And the CAD Swiss has now hit as well. So we've got the weekly range done on the CAD Swiss as well. If you look at that coming out. So this movement here is the entire week's average range at the moment. So there's a few things hitting there. Apart from that, 4 hours we've got quite a few bits, and the hourlies we've got quite a lot lit up now as well. So we'll have a look through all of those. But I didn't get a chance to do much trading at all this morning. So afternoon, Tammy. David actually profited on Aussie dollar CAD mean reversion during the Asian session. Aussie CAD. Yeah. So yeah, Aussie CAD, we were looking at that one. Was nicely extended. Has pushed up again, obviously, a little bit more, but not a lot. You see, we've just had a really, really tight session on a lot of these pairs during London. Not really gone anywhere. Been a bit of a rubbish session. Afternoon, Franco. Was delayed by an employee who needed instructions written in crayons. Yes. I don't have any employees. That's quite good. I have to write myself stuff written in crayons. Right, let's have a look at the 4-hour extensions, then we'll have a look at the indices and where we are. So 4 hours, we've got CAD Swiss, 75 extensions. I'm toying with the idea actually of switching the EA back to trading off of 75.25 on the 4 hour. I've just got a feeling we're going back to a little bit more normality than I was expecting. So I'm toying with the idea of going back to the original settings on the EA rather than sort of a little bit more aggressive. I haven't got into any trades on the hourlies yet at all this week. We haven't managed to get extended enough to get into any positions. So I'm just toying with the idea of doing that. I'm going to give it another day. I'm going to wait probably for FOMC to finish and then have a go after that. Back on the normal settings, I think. So CAD Swiss, let's start there. 4 hour, really nice extension. We've got a big, strong push, little accumulation, another strong push. So this is potentially the third leg. That was a flag, second leg, third leg. So potentially we are ready for the drop from up here. Very nicely extended on the CAD Swiss. Good for short opportunities. This morning we had a little bit more of a push up. So there wasn't a reverse alert on the hourly. M15 you would have had one this morning in Asia. But yeah, ready to go this one. It's just starting to roll over now. CAD Yen as well. Very similar. These two are very similar, obviously, setups, as you can see. So you probably only want to take one of those or just completely expose yourself on the CAD short. But yeah, they look really nice as shorts at the moment. If you look back, obviously that was the biggest, strongest push we had, and that rolled over 50%. We're looking for a similar sort of thing. So coming back to the supports, basically, somewhere around there at some point. So that's where we'll be taking profit on those. I'm just going to extend the fib out on that now. Because we didn't get 38 retracement off originally. So yeah, fits in nicely with the 38 retracement on a short on that one. So CAD Yen looking good for shorts as well as the CAD Swiss. Euro Swiss, definitely a short. Looks really nice for shorts, Euro Swiss and Euro Yen, both of these. Euro Yen at the moment is obviously a little bit tricky because the yen's really weak. We haven't got any strength whatsoever coming through on the yen. So Euro Swiss probably the one that is more favourable out of those two. We're back up into the 24.72 zone officially, and we've been there. Obviously, we were there when we looked at it previously, when we just about got extended. So yeah, really looking good for a short. Lovely potential area of resistance that we're rocking into now. So looking for short opportunities on that one as well. This is a lovely little previous support, which we've obviously broken through. We're tapping up into for the first time really here. So really nice area potentially for the next leg down. Excuse me. God. I am so knackered today. You know, you get those nights where you wake up and all of a sudden your head goes, you remember that thing you meant to do today? And you just can't get rid of it. That's what I had last night. It was like every time I looked at the clock, it was like 3, 3:30, 4, 4:30. Then I woke up at 6. I'm not sure if there was anything between 4:30 and 6, but it just destroys your evening. And it just catches up on you in the afternoon. Well, it does with me anyway. Certain age, I guess. Anyway, so Euro Swiss shorts. Euro Yen, same thing. Oops. Looking for short opportunities on that one, but obviously the yen is a little bit more tricky. So we've had a really good sort of V-shaped recovery on this one. Not really any decent moves down off of it. So I'll be looking for a proper decent leg down off of that when we get some yen strength. But as you can see by the rest of the yens, there's not really any coming through at the moment. So the only thing we haven't got extended on the yen is the Aussie. Euro yen, pound yen, New Zealand yen, and US yen, and obviously CAD yen. All absolutely shot at the moment with the yen. So we'll look at those ones next. Might as well skip over to Euros, pound Swiss first though. So pound Swiss just about hit the 24 again. Potentially looking for another short opportunity there. Not too sure what this Swiss franc weakness is that we're seeing at the moment. The pound's pushed up obviously against the Swissy. If you look at the other Swiss pairs as well, they're all really weak at the moment. So this is a little bit of Swiss franc weakness we've got showing through at the moment. Not necessarily pound strength, as you can see through the other pound pairs. So this is just to do with the Swissy, and this is the only reason why this one's pushed up. So potentially nice looking M pattern ready to turn back down to the downside on this one as well. Tapping into the 24. If the 24 entry fails, obviously you'll be getting in somewhere up towards the 72. From a support resistance perspective, there's not really anything massively exciting where we are here, where we're bouncing from. If you look to the left, it's sort of around there and an accumulation, but nothing sort of spot on where we are. So roughly around here is where I would expect us to start to roll over on this. But again, the Swiss franc is uncharacteristically weak. We're not getting any strength coming through. Same as the yen. We're just not getting that movement we normally see with the Swiss franc. So it's only just extended, that one. So kind of I'd like to see it a little bit more extended ideally, but saying that, looking like it's potentially double topping at the moment. It is double topping at the moment. So this is a lovely little short opportunity there. And pound yen, so looking at the other yens basically. Pound yen, nice extension. Let's get rid of that fib. Nothing too exciting there. So yeah, pound yen, again, same sort of thing. No yen strength whatsoever. So the pound is pushing up against the yen. It is with all of these. Not quite sure why we're not getting anything on the yen at the moment. I know they're not doing particularly amazing over there still, but it's uncharacteristic not to have any strength coming through with the US dollar, which we have typically seen in the past. So they're kind of out of sync, these two. So again, it's nicely extended. Anything above the sort of 70 level on anything really, you're always going to get that sort of movement back down again. So pound yen's getting there. You've got really nice double top if we do push up for another leg there for potential turning point. Failing that, we've got a very nice support there, which should turn into resistance as well. So even if it doesn't turn where it is here, we should get some decent movement when we push up a little bit more, and obviously that will take you above sort of 75, which is a great spot to start getting in. New Zealand dollar yen, really nice market structure on this one. It's very orderly. New Zealand dollar's on an absolute flyer against the yen at the moment. New Zealand dollar's doing well against most things. So this is my least favourite of all of these yens at the moment, just because of the fact it's been so orderly on the way up. Lots and lots of good up-down candles, market structure in there. So it's not the best one. I like to see when we get extended on the RSI, I like to see a big strong push with very little profit-taking move on the way down, because that is usually indicative of everybody needing to hit the sell button, which obviously starts that move, that profit-take move very quickly. We're not seeing that at the moment. So not the best one of the lot. Your pound yen or euro yen, ideally euro yen's really the best of the lot. That's the best one to take. Or CAD yen. So CAD yen, we've got oil coming up this afternoon. What time is that? 2:30. So in about an hour, we've got potential movement on the CAD as well. US dollar Swiss, very extended. This is a really big move off of this one. It's difficult to tell what we had. This big spiky candle here, probably a profit take move, but it's just really messy on the way up. And again, weak Swiss franc, which is the reason for this one moving quite so fast. We've had a decent US dollar and we've had a really weak Swissy. So this one's obviously benefited massively more than the others. So yeah, good for shorts up here. But again, we've been massively extended above the 80 level on this, and it's really had a big spike down and a big spike down. It's not really done any kind of profit-taking move whatsoever yet. So at some point, this is going to come down, and we're going to get that sort of movement. Could potentially be on FOMC this evening. Depends what they're going to do with the US dollar later. And US dollar yen, our friend who does never come down. So again, took this one short, played that candle, made some money out of it. It's pushed back up again. Have we actually broken the highs? No. So remember I said this morning, the obvious thing for them to do is to come up here, which they have not done off of retail sales. So potentially if we break this high, if we get a push up on the US dollar this evening on FOMC, that could be the catalyst to move this all down. So looking good. US dollar yen, very nicely extended. Just not really a fan of the fact that we're going into this horrible tight accumulation. It's just bad timing with the big move we've had, and obviously FOMC. So we're not sure which way they're going to take it with FOMC, but we'll see. So that's all your 4 hourlies. Lots of opportunities in there, mainly yen based at the moment. Franco is slamming ZAR yen 2 days. ZAR? God. Don't trade exotics. They scare me. Had to go to Africa to find a stable trade. Yeah. Yeah, ZAR's a wild thing. Many pips on the ZAR. Everybody that says they can make 10,000 pips a month, they're usually trading the ZAR. Because there's massive movement. Do you think Russia-Ukraine issue almost sorted out to go back to normal trading routine using the EA? Don't know. I'm contemplating it. At the moment, I've got the EA running, and it's obviously trading, but on extended conditions at the moment. So on the hourlies, I'm looking for higher time frame 80-20 instead of the normal 75-25. And on the 4 hours, I'm looking for even more. Well, say even more. Looking for 75-25 instead of 70-30 on those. So, yeah, I've just I'm trading with the EA, but I'm just a little cautious at the moment with the settings. So just going into a bit more of a conservative mode. But yeah, I mean, it's calmed down. It's definitely calmed down. I don't think you can ever say it's sorted out until the Russians pull out. Then it's sorted out. But that only sorts out that conflict. It doesn't sort out the new financial world that we're living in, which is complete different dependency on fuel supplies and completely different economic structure. Russia's the largest continent out there. We did a lot of trade with them. Everybody did. Nobody is anymore. So the economy is going to be changed dramatically with that. And what impact that's going to have on currencies is very difficult to predict. So with the thing with exchange rates is, and the thing with FX really as a whole, Forex is, it's all manipulated by the banks. So regardless of what economic impact it has on an individual currency, when we see large manipulation, we will see profit taking. So it should go back to normal. What I've been worried about for the last few weeks are these crazy moves, which we've had on everything, not just FX. We've had it on all the indices. We've had it on the commodities, just based off the fact of we don't know what to do, so everybody pulling their money out and pushing it into different places. That, I think, is all calmed down. The only downside to that is, if this all sorts itself out in the next few weeks, will everybody pull their money back out and put it back into where it was, in which case we're going to see the inverse of what we've had, a massive movement in the opposite direction. If you get caught on the wrong side of that, you're still going to be in a bit of trouble, aren't you? So difficult to tell. But for me at the moment, just getting in safe with... basically all I've done is I've moved up one RSI level. Yeah, so if I was trading 70s, I'm now trading 75s. If I was trading 75s, I'm now trading 80s. So I'm just letting price get that little bit further extended before I start to take trades. Just safer, that's all. But yeah, we are getting closer. I mean, there's more potential peace talks going on, but you know, at the end of the day, he's got his finger on a button. If he starts using tactical nukes, NATO will get involved. If he accidentally shoots a missile in the wrong direction, NATO will get involved. If NATO gets involved, it doesn't matter what way you're trading, you're stuffed. It really doesn't. So difficult times. But then trading's never easy, is it? When trading the EA, should we have a dedicated cloud server? Yeah, if you're going to run any EA, you need a VPS or a PC that's on 24/7 in your house. If it's that type of PC, if it's that type of EA that runs permanently through all markets 24/7, yeah, you got to have it running on an EA on a VPS. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. If you keep turning it on and on, it's going to miss trades, isn't it? So you got to have it on all the time. It's on all the time. New to idea of robotics in trading. Yeah. So EAs basically have to be running. Things like the price action toolkit. Obviously, this is a scalping EA. It's designed to be used on small time frames, and I'm using it to get in and out of the market. If you wanted to use this with the auto trading on it, so it's auto trading chart patterns for you, then and you want to use that 24/7, yeah, it's got to be running on because it's got to be turned on. If it's turned off, it can't trade. So yeah, you have to have everything running on a VPS. I've got 5 minutes to the open. Let's just whiz through the hourlies. Christy, is there a way to set the live account as default in Ninja? Set the live account as default in Ninja. Made a nice profit today and still in it before I realised it was a SIM account. Yeah, it will default. It should default to your whatever account you're trading. Yeah. When you close your NinjaTrader down, it will ask you if you want to save that layout. If you have the account, whatever account you have selected in the trading buttons, can't remember what they're called, brain's gone. It should save that account for when you open it back up. It should automatically save that account, assuming you've got your account set to auto log in. So in your accounts section, you need to set it to auto log in as well. But it should do. Right, let's run through these hourlies quickly before the market opens. Aussie dollar Swiss. Big extension, Aussie Swiss. Sorry, not a big extension, a big move. We were obviously fairly low when that move started, so we've only just got to extension. But I mean, if you look at the last move we had like that, it collapsed, and the last one collapsed. So it's ready for a pullback, definitely. So Aussie dollar Swiss and Aussie dollar yen, again the yens, both good. This is coming out to a lovely little support potentially as well. Sorry, resistance up there. So a couple of opportunities there for 5-minute reversals. Aussie dollar yen, Aussie dollar Swiss. They've only just got extended though. I've been much more interested in these. CAD Swiss, CAD yen. We've just looked at these on the 4 hourlies. So CAD Swiss, just getting a bearish engulfing starting there. CAD yen, same thing. We've got news on oil obviously this afternoon, so you may well get your opportunities for this to come down hard if we get some strong moves this afternoon. We've had reversal alerts on M5 though, so potentially good movements there available. Pound Swiss and pound yen, again similar. Pounds, that's already started to roll over. God, the redraw on this. I see some people every now and again, they'll send me a message saying the indicator, every time I switch charts, it doesn't redraw. I now see what they mean. I've never experienced this before. All my other brokers, and I showed you, didn't I? I was in Forex this morning. No problems whatsoever. This one, however, it doesn't draw properly. You have to flick. Oh, that's a different example, but it's just the updating is really, really bad on it for some reason, and I don't quite know why. It's some kind of weird delay. I've never experienced this before. Look, see, that's a reversal alert. If I flick over, there's something not right with this broker platform, 8cap. And it's that delay. Well, that's that slippage I had the other day. It's just not right. Anyway, pound Swiss and pound yen. So yeah, pound yen, we're just about to get a reversal alert on that one. And the pound Swiss, we've just had one. So extended on the hourlies. Big strong push. Just got extended though. That's double topping though. That's lovely, that pound Swiss. Potentially that one could start to come down quite hard. New Zealand dollar yen, we looked at that one. Not the greatest in the world, New Zealand dollar yen, because it's been very, very orderly and organised on the way up. You can see it also on the hourly. It's been very, very nice. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down on the way up. So more likely to get a little bit of a down and then an up, not a lot. We're just approaching ADR as well on that one. So and US dollar CAD nicely extended to the downside. We're hitting some very nice levels of potential support here. Failing that, we're coming all the way down there. So really nice areas of support. Right where we are now. So it looks good for a long. All the CAD pairs at the moment look as if we should be getting some CAD movement this afternoon. They're all quite extended, so we'll see what happens at 2:30. But lovely looking opportunity there. So again, drop down to M5. Just had a reversal alert on that one. Nice little long. And we're long US dollar as well. So, Christy, when I open it, it's always in sim. I don't know why that is with Ninja. Mine doesn't. Mine opens in the last account that I was using. I'd Google that. It's probably a setting somewhere. It might be a setting that I set ages ago. Couldn't tell you which it would be though. Markets open. Let's whiz over and have a look at what we're doing at the moment with the indices. Adrian, I've had it before where it changes stuff, including ATMs. I have to keep an eye on it and check everything before I trade. I've never had that. I'm just trying to think why it would be. Because your layout, when you save your layout saves everything, including the account you're trading. The only thing I can think is you haven't got it set to auto log in to the account. So if you go to connections, and in connections, I mean, one thing you can do is remove all the other connections, and then it will only have one connection, which means it can't connect to a SIM account. So you could always remove the SIM account connection. You can always add it back. That might be it. But yeah, I don't know. Right. Okay, so big open on the US indices. DAX isn't moving anywhere, so let's watch the NAS as well. Did it when I had earn to trade accounts? Yeah, there might be some accounts that does that in Ninja. I don't know. I've never had a problem with it myself, but so let's have a quick look at the indices as to where we are at the moment from a daily perspective as well. So DAX, big, strong day so far. We've just pulled off the highs there. So we've put in a very, very decent range on that one this morning. NASDAQ, fairly decent range to the upside as well. Same as the S&P, and all the indices basically have had a really nice, good, strong day. All pushing up into the 24, 72 area. So 24 touch there on the S&P. NASDAQ hasn't quite got up there because NASDAQ came down lower and took out those lows. So that's the only one that's taken those lows out. But yeah, all having a nice strong push. So I would be inclined to look for sort of a rotation day today, potentially ahead of FOMC, or maybe even a little bit of selling off. So got a slight short bias today, just based on the amount of movement that we've had to the upside so far. As you can see, we've had a really good, strong move up so far today. A lot stronger than I was anticipating today. So potentially bias short. We have rolled over already. We took out those highs. And we've rolled over and taken out those lows. So at the moment, that's the high. We've got a new lower low put in. So we're looking for a lower high and drop. Assuming we've got the high of the day in. We may not have the high of the day in, but assuming that is the high of the day, that's what I'll be looking for today across them all. So potentially short opportunities to start with, but let's just see how it pans out. Nice jump on US dollar Swiss. I haven't got a jump on the US dollar Swiss. Oh, do you want to jump on the US dollar Swiss? Yeah, US dollar Swiss, nice short. Okay, so just pushing up out of the 5-minute opening range highs to start the day. Let's see what happens when we get up to the highs up here. If we get there. I'm going in with fairly big stops at the moment on these. Just want to give myself some decent breathing room at the moment. So 34.09. Got a fair bit of movement, haven't we, up to there. ADR on New Zealand dollar Swiss. That's a really strong push we've had on the Dow. 7 4-hour candles straight up. It's definitely due a pullback. No. Got good level coming up here if we do get up to there today. 34 100-ish area, but we'll see how we react to the highs. NASDAQ still pushing as well. Should have taken a short up there. How's the strategy quant portfolio? I'll show you in a sec. It's just broken new highs. Wow. Dow is off on a mission. They're all off on a mission to the upside this morning. New Zealand dollar yen. We've got loads of movement on the New Zealand dollar at the minute. Big, strong New Zealand moves. Very big, strong New Zealand moves. Aussie dollar's coming down hard against New Zealand as well. So this is just New Zealand dollar for some reason. Having a big spike at the moment. Oof, where's this Dow going? Afternoon, Neo. Wow. ADR hit New Zealand US. New Zealand's off on emissions. S&P indices are rocketing. Not quite sure what they're off on a mission about. DAX isn't. FTSE's not. So massive buying in the US dollar markets. Final push maybe. Going one short. I'm already in. Wow, that's quick. We've had a really big day on these indices, so I'm not sure. I'm just trying to see where we're potentially heading for. I suppose we could be heading for a double top on the Dow maybe, but got a feeling this might be the last push before we turn around. Higher day here. We'll see. It's worth a shot to revert this all the way back down again and potentially go short. We'll see. This could take off, but this is a pure speculative short. Nasdaq's pushing higher, trying to push higher anyway. Just watch this for a minute and then we'll have a look at the EA. Must be that rocket I drew on it yesterday, yeah. No, that rocket was just to get it going yesterday. It should be finished now. I'm looking just for a quick scalp. Back down. Aussie dollar Swiss ADR. There's a lot of movement going on. Aussie Swiss is off. Aussies are all off as well. These are the commodity pairs. So something going on in the commodities market. Let's have a look at gold. Gold's tanking. Something going on in commodities at the minute. Not quite sure which. I can't see any news. Something's going on there. Okay, Nasdaq's rejecting the highs potentially here. Okay, I've got 1 minute left on this candle. So I'm thinking potentially ahead of myself here of a 3-bar reversal forming. So I'm going to put a sell stop underneath the low of this candle. Got half a minute left. See if we can gather if this is going to play out as a final push, higher day. Get gathered up into a second position short. Negative moves on oil service sector index. Yeah, that's still bullish. Nasdaq's breaking new highs. We're trying to anyway. So we've just hit that double top proper now. There we go, popped it. Wow, there's a lot of volatility this afternoon even. Got a spread. There's literally nothing moving but the Aussies and the New Zealand's lit. I'm long Aussie CAD at the moment, which is good. We'll just give this another 5 or 10 minutes to settle down. I still like the play as high of day. We've had a good, strong move so far today. We haven't done ADR yet, but we're 3/4 of the way there. And the fact that we've done this in the Globex session ahead of market open, just think this is probably wanting to either rotate or drop today, but we'll see. Give that a few more minutes. So the Robo Forex, the other EAs, the strategy quant EAs. So we're up 30% overall on them. This month so far, we're only halfway through the month, we're down 13%. So obviously this month's when the war kind of properly started. So it's not drastic as a loss at the moment. It's starting to recover a little bit. We've got some profit in there at the moment. And we've got a fairly decent profit open at the moment there, $900 down on the month at the moment there as well. So they're all doing okay, nothing dramatic, nothing amazing. But then I'm not expecting them to be flying away, making an absolute fortune. So they're mediocre really at the moment. Up $700 in a month and a bit. So these ones started. Whoops. December, so no, it's 3 months now, nearly 7%. So not great performance there. And obviously these have been going for a bit longer. So all positive, but not groundbreaking is the answer really to that. But they've survived the war, as you would expect to. Gathered up into the second position short there. Just starting this M15 candle. So a nice bearish engulfing on this M15 would be very nice. Maybe the hedge fund boys finally jumping in heavy. Yes, it's more likely repositioning ahead of FOMC. Money moving around. I don't think we'll get a massive push, but in one direction or the other. But we may well see a lot of volatility. I'd be quite happy just to grab a % out of today. In fact, I think I'll be lucky to grab a % out today. So Nasdaq 4 solid longs. Dow rolling over. S&P signs of absorption up at the highs there as well. So 43.36 is a double top from Friday last week. Dow's coming down fairly nicely. Aussie dollar yen, ADR. So all these ADR hits we're seeing are all Aussie and New Zealand pushing high. Until you know what that is for, I wouldn't really short those. No, they're extended on the hourlies. Yeah, nothing. There's nothing extended on hourly or 4 hourly. These obviously are hitting ADRs, but why? This is what we saw. Remember when the war kicked off? We usually expect money to flood into the yen, the US dollar, and the Swiss franc when there's crisis happening. Everything flooded into the Aussie and the New Zealand, didn't it? It was really weird. Seems we're having a similar sort of move again on these pairs. So it's just weird that they're both being manipulated at the same time, and quite substantially as well. S&P wanting to push higher. Nasdaq's trying still as well. So Dow, we're sitting basically in this propulsion gap. We've created 2 propulsion gaps. We're sitting at potential support. So see what this 5-minute candle does. Quite a crucial 5-minute candle this. Got divergence again, look. We had this yesterday. Okay, just coming down to the opening range highs. I'll be looking to short the Nasdaq and the S&P at the moment. The Dow is coming down hard. The others are lagging at the moment. Lovely tweezer tops on the Nasdaq. Boss texting you now to work overtime, getting pips where I can. Yeah. This is overtime. Okay, first gap's been filled. Just testing the opening range highs again on the Dow. So just coming back down to test the moving averages now as well. Taking that off at 0.7. There's a bit of a speculative trade. The speed of that push didn't make sense, so that's why I shorted that. But if we're going long today, that's the initial push. This is the pullback, so that's where we're going to go long from. So a lot of people will be looking at this as a pullback to buy long. So we should see some buying starting to step in. Whether or not that buying gets absorbed by the sellers, we'll find out. But just taking that off there because I'm anticipating some buying action coming in. The other thing that I don't like about it is that's all we managed to get as a pullback on the Nasdaq and the S&P as well. We've had one bearish engulfing off of that move. So the Dow's done a 50% retracement, whereas these guys are just flagging at the highs. So it's got two indices bullish, one indice potentially bearish. Makes more sense that it's going up, doesn't it? So just bank that. Let's just watch for a minute and see where we're going. We're just sitting on the highs here on the S&P as well. Good opening range breakout retest entry. Long, but I'd rather just wait and see what happens first. Indecision here. I just want to have a quick look at the Euro US dollar. I was just reading an article, a technical analysis article on the Euro US dollar. Lots of stuff pointing towards the US dollar rate, US dollar hike. US dollar hike. which means euro US dollar down. And the fact that this is obviously just flagging down here from a technical perspective, which is quite interesting. But they're also saying there's a 13% chance that the rate hike today is all factored in. It's expected, and it was announced a while ago that was going to happen. But there is also the potential for a 0.5% hike instead of a 0.25% hike, which will take it up to 0.75. If that happens, the market won't be prepared for that. So they're just sort of formulating plans as to what will happen. But either way, we'll see some very decent volatility off the back of FOMC and the rate announcement this evening. So not quite sure which way it's going to go, though, because it's not cut and dry as to whether they're going to necessarily hike the rates by 0.25%, or they may well go a little bit bigger than that. So New Zealand dollar yen, we've just got an RSI alert on the hourly, so there's a few hourlies now updated. Obviously, with those New Zealand dollar moves we've just had, we've got Aussie and New Zealand yen and New Zealand Swiss and Aussie Swiss extended. Again, don't trade both, trade one or the other, they both do the same thing. Divergence, make your mind up. It's another one of those flip a coin days, isn't it? DAX going to follow the Dow? Possibly. DAX seems very, very slow at the minute. But yeah, I mean, the DAX is... The DAX and the Dow will move closer because they are monitoring fewer stocks, but they're slightly different. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The Germany 30 or 40 is the top 40 stocks, so they're monitoring slightly different markets. So they're composed of slightly different types of stock. You've got more oil and gas and energy in the Dow than you have in the DAX. So that sector is obviously being hit a little bit harder at the moment than tech. And obviously the S&P is made up of a lot of tech stock. So it's very difficult to read this at the minute. I really don't like these big moves when you get these big out the gates. They're lovely if you catch them long or short and you ride them, or you ride the fade as I did there. They're lovely, but after, it's very hard to read where you're going to go. At the moment it's looking long, so it looks like we are stepping into buy up, in which case then if you're trading the DAX, be looking for longs. But this market's already extended today. We've had a big move up already, so we're putting in potentially a big daily candle today. Right up where we would expect to be shorting the next leg. So hence me being short biased today, which is why when I saw that big spike I was more interested in shorts, but it's very undecided at the minute. Doesn't know where it wants to go. Going and buy a stop above that IRB with a fairly decent wide stop underneath the gap. We've got decent rejection there. I mean, that's a complete indecision bar. Got a spinning top, no idea which way it's going. I'm just basing this off the fact that the other indices are still bullish, although there's a lot of absorption here. A lot of selling pressure coming in. Well, cancelling that pending. Dow's coming down. Nasdaq's coming down. I'm going short one on the Nas. Looking to see what happens when we get down here. Dow's coming down hard. Short DAX, definitely. Is anybody else in who's in the UK at the moment? Have you got a is your sky completely orange at the moment? We've got this weird sandstorm thing going on, and it's bizarre looking out there. It's like the apocalypse. It's cloudy, but it's orange and cloudy. I'm waiting for it to start raining, so I have to scrape all the sand off my car. But it's really bizarre. I was just looking at my monitors, thinking how dark it is in this room. And when you look out, it's like this weird orange hue. It's very, very weird. Apocalyptic. Okay, so Dow, we've way gone beyond a 61.8 retracement here. So we may well potentially get a step back up here before we pop down again. DAX, I went in a little bit early on that DAX trade. We didn't break these lows we're supporting at the moment, so a little bit early on that entry before candle close, which I might regret. But I still think we need to do more of a pullback, even if we are going long. So we should see some more downside coming through. Was earlier, but not now, David. Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. It hasn't rained, so I'm glad I didn't wash the car yesterday. That's why it'd be covered in sand. We had the same thing when the that eruption happened in. Wasn't the Tenerife one? It was the one before that. I think it was in Iceland. And we had like bits of soot landing on the car from Iceland. We were a long way away. It's amazing how fast stuff goes. Just retesting the lows on the Dow. The pre-session lows. If the Dow breaks these lows, I don't hold out too much hope for the rest of the indices. We should see these accelerate down. But potentially could get a bounce down here. Officially, until that's broken, we are putting in a higher low. Just a hell of a higher low, isn't it? Look at that. Just about. If that's going to happen. If that's going to happen, it's going to be one of those horrible whipsaw days. We don't want to be involved in it. It already looks whipsaw on the Nasdaq. Pouring down in Oxfordshire. Yeah, we're forecast to have loads of rain today, but it hasn't happened. Just had a load of turf laid in the back garden, so if it doesn't, I'm going to have to go and water that as well. Be good if they can do that for me, the clouds. Hasn't stopped raining all morning in Somerset. Blimey. Used to go out with a girl from Somerset. pouring down in Maidenhead also. Brown sky here too. Well, we're being pretty lucky then. So I'm in Sussex. We're surrounded by Oxford, and we're not surrounded by Oxfordshire, but seems all the counties around us are getting rained on. We're not for some reason. Dow struggling down at these lows. We've got another minute left on these candles. Be nice to see it punch out these lows beforehand, and then I think you can look for pullback shorts this afternoon. But if we're going to go into rotation, we might just see this sort of horrible, that sort of muck you about all afternoon movement ahead of FOMC. Okay, so we did make new lows on the Dow. S&P, why is that not? S&P, we're still sitting within the range. DAX, very much doing the same as the Dow at the moment. Just not with the range, because obviously it's not US. Pulling back. Well, closing that 0.3% loss on that one. It's going to be one of those afternoons. FTSE's off as well. I got a feeling this is going to be a choppy one. It's a Saharan dust cloud. Yeah. Yeah, we've had them before. Very weird phenomenon. Brown skies. Right, quandary. Are we going to break? Oh, hang on. I answered my question already. That was my question. Are we going to make new highs on the DAX? We just have. On the NASDAQ, rather. We just did. Just. So, very, very, very small pullback long there. Very deep retracement on the Dow. very confusing. DAX is really pushing up as well. Decent retracement there, though. What do we think, everybody? Which way are we going? This is a really tricky one this afternoon. Big divergence across the indices. Yeah, Dow's just broken just broken out from these highs as well, so looks long. Triple top there on the S&P, invalidated. That's way too big a stop to take a long on that. Market looks like it wants to go long. What a whipsaw. What a whipsaw. Don't be surprised if we just take out these highs and then come all the way back down and chop everybody to pieces. This doesn't look like a good market this afternoon. Hard to get in. You need to really get a lucky. You need to buy the pullbacks basically as we're pulling back. You need to be buying it down here. Otherwise, you're never going to catch these moves. If you hit the buy button now, gold offers it. Yeah, gold's tanking. What's going on? There's something going on. We got Ukraine and Russia draw up a neutrality plan to end war. War's over, everybody. Zelensky says Ukrainian and Russian positions becoming more realistic despite hints of narrowing defences. Blah, 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 blah. Neutrality plan. So, renouncing NATO membership. Okay, potential there for peace. So obviously the markets are reacting favourably to that. Is NAS being drawn by the daily imbalance? I don't think anything's being drawn by anything at the minute. This is reaction to the news we're seeing here. It's really tempting to hit the buy button. This thing could go absolutely ballistic. But equally, oil's suffering as well. That doesn't mean Putin's going to open his pipelines again. Just have a quick look through what everything's doing. It's only the markets which are reacting to this at the moment. The euro's getting a bit of a push. Be careful of this. That's come out of Live Squawk, but we haven't got anything in writing really solid there. This is the market reacting to what could potentially be not news. Yeah, FX market's not really reacting to it. Gold's just taken out yesterday's low. Again, be careful. Look at that go. Dow's off. Big spike, 100% ADR on the DAX. S&P's just taken out Friday's high, last week's high. What do we reckon? Do you really want to chase that long? Very glad I got out of that one. I'm more inclined to hit the sell button here and fade this. I don't know. What do we reckon? Came out of nowhere, that, didn't it? Was anybody long on that? Or is anybody long on it? Just looking at levels, basically. Nasdaq 13,857 is a double top. Next level on the S&P is miles away. Dow, we're coming up into that area. 34,091. 34,167. So basically it's ADR. Somewhere around there. On the Dow, I'd be interested in looking for shorts. Very difficult to tell what this is. What's going to happen here, isn't it? Short Dow, tight stop. Yeah, I'd get out of it. Depends where your tight stop is. Your tight stop's probably gone now. On the coin toss, I'd fade it. Yeah, I'm tempted to fade this. Even if this is a long, people are going to wait for a pullback to jump in long. You're going to get pullback off this. It's just, I hate these moves. When you see them go and they just go, and you get literally half an hour of solid upward movement with no rest whatsoever. And what you end up doing is accidentally trying to catch a fade, getting stopped out. Oh, look, this one looks like it, stopped out. Before you know it, you've lost 2% of your account trying to fade something that is just going up. So unless we're hitting a level and we're reacting at a level, I'd be happy to take, if this pushes up into there, I'd be happy to take a short there with a stop there. And if that gets stopped out, so be it. Ukraine and Russia have made significant progress to a tentative 15-point peace plan, including a ceasefire and Russian withdrawal of Kiev. Russian withdrawal if Kiev declares neutrality and accepts limits on its armed forces. Just as I was saying, I was going to change the EA and go back to normal. That happens. I don't know what to make of that one. So I'm just going to watch levels and see. My instinct is telling me to short this now. I don't think it's significant peace talks. It's not. Nothing's been signed. It's not like they've signed a declaration of peace or anything. They've come up with a 15-point plan to go away and have a look at. That does not warrant the markets suddenly going back to normal and everybody buying stocks, as it seems to be showing. I'm tempted. But you see what I mean? This thing could just suddenly put in a whacking great bullish candle now. Sell on the sound of trumpets. Yeah. Short S&P. Got out right before break even. That'll do. If you've got loads of money, flip a coin. If you haven't, then stay out. Yeah, that's good advice, Andy. And that's kind of what I'm contemplating now. I've got 0.5% in the bank. It does look like a good short though. Missed it now, really. If we get a pullback, and a push, and we can push up into here, which is that. That is also ADR. I'd be inclined to look at a short there and actually leave the short running for a few hours from there. Because obviously we've got FOMC. If I can get a short play into a decent profit ahead of FOMC and cover it with a break even, I'd be happy to hold that and take a gamble that FOMC tanks. Could make it 5 or 10% easy. If you can get yourself into a position in profit and cover it ahead of FOMC, obviously it's a complete gamble as to whether it works or not, but you've got the possibility of making a very decent profit out of it. NAS is coming up to potential resistance too. There's nothing on the S&P really. It's just chop up here. So tricky afternoon. Zelensky has just addressed the US lawmakers and pleaded for a no-fly zone. He showed pictures of destruction and made quite an emotional case for NATO to get involved. So that's completely the opposite of what we've just seen released as news 9 minutes ago. So I mean, it's just not right, is it? Fake news. Fade it. I was just going to put the BBC News channel on. I normally have it running on my other monitor, but I haven't got it up today. I'm just going to watch the headlines. I'm tempted, really tempted. Let's go with a little short. I'm going with a short with a very low, just 0.25% risk. Based on the NAS popping up there and then rejecting as well and bringing the market down. If we can fade this gap and I can get a couple of percent out of it, it pays for that trade that I just took a loss on. Nazanin Ratcliffe's been released. She's flying home. Interesting. What's released? Why's that happened? Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. Seems like the world's repositioning, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, the BBC News channel is leading with Nazanin being released, which is 6 years overdue. Thank you, Iran. Zelensky to US, Ukraine is grateful, but we need more. Nothing on the BBC News about a 15-point plan being drawn up. Russia continues strikes. That's not news. That's got to be very, very, very careful what you read at the moment. Oh, 230. Oil has just been released. Crude oil inventories negative 4.3 million, forecast at 1.8 negative, so it's negative oil. Oops, that's not CAD pair. Not a lot of impact off the back of that for CAD. UK to buy Iranian oil. Not that I'm a cynic or anything. Yeah, it's all, you know, it's all politics, isn't it? Nazanin's been held for 6 years against her will on a whim. All of a sudden, we need more oil. Oh, hang on, we've got some. Well, can we have Nazanin back? Yeah, okay. It's just hideous, isn't it? It's a big coincidence, that, isn't it? So that's actually trumped the war. So the market's not really sure at the minute where it wants to go off the back of that. Now everyone's just been spooked and is now actually going, nah, not sure about that move. So it doesn't seem like we're getting a big spike off the back of that. And the fact that Zelensky has just addressed the US Congress and asked for that no-fly zone that we are just not going to give, I would suggest that the peace talks are more of a what-if scenario, and Zelensky is going to turn around and go, no. Which is quite right, considering he's just had his country blown to pieces. Oil's coming down. Not hard, but coming down. Okay, DAX is pushing a little bit. Nasdaq's pushing. I'm just going to reduce this down even more. Virtually no risk. Nasdaq's pushing. DAX is pushing. S&P is pushing. Dow is going to push as well. I'm just going to close it. Tiny, inconceivable loss. I'm not going to trade this anymore this afternoon, I don't think. I can't figure out what this market wants to do. It looks like it wants to continue long. So, like I said, I think the thing to do this afternoon is to just monitor this. It's FOMC day. There's every opportunity that we are going to see things like that happening, and then, you know, it can do anything it wants. Basically, this afternoon, if you're trying to catch a trend, it will bounce off the moving average, stop you out, and then it will come back up here, and then it will stop out everybody that took that long, and it'll be hideous. Or it will just trend up there, and then finally run out of steam because we've put in a massive up day already. So plan for me is to see if we can get up into this area and find some bearish price action coming out of there, and look to try and build a short. But at the minute, this is very undecided as to where this wants to go. And I wouldn't be surprised if we just sit sideways for a good hour or so now, and chop around. So you probably trade it on the low time frames. Quite which way, you know, it's a bit of a coin flip at the minute. Nas is coming off the highs. So we're triple topping off the Nas. Is that it? Don't know. So that could be a nice short opportunity there. We've had what, nearly 1.5 hours solid upward movement. 1.25 hours solid up. Definitely due a pullback, aren't we? But is the market now spooked by that news, and dumping or buying stocks up, or what? I've just started trading the H5 hedge strategy on a few pairs, as you've traded this for a few months now. I don't trade the H5 hedge strategy. I don't use that strategy. Somebody asked me to create that strategy, and I did, and it worked. It works very well a lot of the time, until you get a squeeze. The problem with the H5 hedging strategy is that it uses 60-40 on the RSI on M5, and if you get embedded on M5, and then it just starts to get extended on the hourly and just starts to get extended on the 4 hourly, you're in a lot of positions. So you'll find that the M5 hedging strategy in a range is awesome. It will just print money. In a trend, as long as it's a good market structure trend, again, it will print money because it will take loads of profit off of the buys, and the sells it will scale into and get out on the pullbacks. Yeah. If you go into a big, strong squeeze with hardly any pullback, profit takes, it's dangerous, which is why I don't trade it. It does work. It's one of those account building strategies. You know, there's people in the Telegram group that have made they've doubled their accounts, trebled their accounts with it, but at some point it will go really wrong depending on what you're trading. So if you're going to trade it, you need to look for pairs which are very, very stable. So things like, I say very stable, nothing is very stable permanently, but anything like an Aussie, something like the Aussie Swiss, where you're getting this type of price action the vast majority of the time. Yeah, it will get out of all of this. Yeah, no problem at all. Where you will come unstuck is something like this. Yeah, there's no escape because you're getting in too quick. Nothing's going to survive something like that. It's just, war breaks out, you're stuffed either way, which is why I closed all my positions. So yeah, I mean, what I would do, David, is test it. Go and test it in the back tester and see what you think, and test it on pairs. Aussie New Zealand is quite often a good pair, because with the Aussie New Zealand, it's choppy, really choppy pairs. Anything that's really choppy. Lots of pairs against the Swiss. Yeah, so there you'll make really good money on your long hedges, and then you'll scale into your short hedges, and you'll be out of the short hedges. And then all those shorts, you weren't taking any longs, and then it will start going long again. You'll get out of those, and then you'll get a short entry there, go up, you'll get another short entry, and it will get you out of those. And all the time it's scaling into the shorts, it's making money on the buys. And that's what hedging is. It's great. It accumulates cash. Literally every single day you'll be banking somewhere between 0.5% to 2% in your account. But I mean, if that happens, you're going to be in trouble. But when you get big, strong movement like that, without that, you stuffed. Which it really doesn't happen very often. But on things like the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar CAD, Aussie dollar Swiss to a certain extent. Just trying to think, really. I mean, it's the same with everything. Yeah, I mean, you'd be making an absolute killing. You'd still be making a killing. You're stuffed. Trevor's trading it. There you go. M5 hedging has been working nicely for me, but only at the right times. And I can only pull it off manually at the moment. Yeah, it's don't get me wrong. The set file that I published for it, I tested it across multiple pairs over a period of a good year or so, and it really, really, really is like phenomenal. It's like unbelievable amount of money at banks, but you get a squeeze when it gets a squeeze on. Because you're getting in so close together with your entries, you're on M5 getting in a quarter of an ADR apart. Because you're entering on a low time frame, the reversal alerts are frequent. So you would have got in on a reversal alert there somewhere, you got in one there, you got in one there. You wouldn't have got into all of these, but you will always get in pretty much exactly a quarter of an ADR apart, because the market's going like that all the time. And every time it does, you're making money on the way down. It's lovely. But you will find that you'll get into anything from 5 to 10 positions in one direction. And if you don't get the decent pullbacks, that's an exit. That's all you need, really. But you'll get days where it will squeeze. So I would just say you've got to go and try it. Test it. And also, because it's M5, it takes a long time in the strategy tester. So set it up for tests for 3 months at a time. So test 3 months on things with low ADRs is what I would look for. Yeah. So pick your low ADR pairs: Aussie New Zealand, Euro Pound, New Zealand CAD. I mean, even US dollar Swiss. Ordinarily, I would say US dollar Swiss is a lovely pair. The Swiss franc's really out of character at the moment. There we go. I don't know what's happening in the markets, but I can pretty much tell you it's just shot up or down. I haven't even looked at them. Look at that. Why has that just happened? So 28 minutes ago, the war was over. Roll on 28 minutes, the war's not over. Jesus. Impossible to trade at the moment, isn't it? It's just a nightmare. There you go. Oh, I should have held that short. Right, so everybody hit the short button again. You know, this is what I mean. Just don't bother today. It's a nightmare. A friggin' nightmare. So the Kiev has rejected the neutrality peace talks. Can make it up, could you? So NAS has come off of that high. So NAS probably is not a bad short to be looking at here. We've got 37 minutes on this, 37 seconds on this candle. This is a lovely bearish engulfing for potential shorts. If you measure though that pullback that we had, is that just a pullback for the next leg? Really tricky today, really tricky. I'm going to put a sell stop under the low there with a, that's a bit tight. Just going to cancel that off. 8,000. Oh, why did that not count? Oh, pushing the wrong buttons, look. Oh my God, what am I doing? Danger of having two EAs running next to each other. Okay, so I'm going with sell stop under there, stop above the highs. Buy on the sounds of cannons. I don't know, is it buy on the sounds of cannons or sell on the sounds of cannons at the minute? I really don't know, you know. It's just one of those, at the moment it's just impossible. Crazy, isn't it? The war's over, the war's over. Oh, that's brilliant. Everybody stick all your money back into stocks. Oh, hang on a minute. No, it's not. Oh, right. You can't trade it. So I'll either get gathered up short if this is going to now be... this is where I was expecting us to drop. So... I would be expecting us to break the opening range low of the session now, and this to be the high of the session on the NAS. So I'd be happy to hold this one. Hence me putting a massive TP on this down here. It's a very tiny position though. You have to ask yourself who releases that news, yeah? Did that just come from the Fed? Did the Fed just make that up to manipulate price there? Dodgy, innit? It's all dodgy. I don't even like this little 0.25% trade. It just doesn't feel right to me. Nothing feels right at the minute. Right, let's have a look at everything else. What's going on everywhere else at the minute? So Aussies come off the highs. That's good. Let's go out to higher time frame and see what's going on. So Aussie dollar Swiss starting to roll over. Aussie dollar CAD is not going anywhere at the moment. Aussie dollar yen, we're starting to roll over at ADR. Nicely extended on the hourly. We're extended on, just about extended on the 4 hourly. We're up at these highs. Looks like that's starting to reject up there. So potentially a nice looking short opportunity Aussie dollar yen. Lower time frame, M15, you're just about to get a reversal off that. Aussie New Zealand's not going anywhere. Aussie US starting to roll over at ADR as well. So again, another 100% ADR rejection. It's done its move for the day. CAD Swiss. So the CAD looks like the CAD might be coming down off the back of the oil news. Yeah. So negative oil news, negative CAD. So that was nicely extended on the hourly. So if you got into that one's paying out nicely. So M5 reversal alert. You've just had the retest. So anybody getting that? It's textbook. Off the CAD news, but that's off the CAD news, obviously. That's why we like news. News moves the market. Swissy. So Euro's not really gone anywhere at the moment. Very rotational at the minute. Big rejection on the Euro US. Nice liquidity run out the highs there. Again, it's all setting up for US dollar strength. Off of FOMC. How long we got? 3 hours. don't expect much in the next 3 hours. I think we're going to see spiky whipsaw rubbish for the next 3 hours. So just sit it out. If you can build a position in one way or the other and get yourself into a nice profit, and you want to take a risk on that move being in your favour, you've got a 50-50 chance of getting a really big move this evening off of FOMC. You've also got a 50-50 chance of getting whipsawed to death and making nothing off of it. But all the New Zealand's are coming off. We didn't quite get 125 ADR. New Zealand dollar yen we did, but New Zealand coming off 100 ADR. New Zealand dollar yen straight off of 125 at the moment. US dollar Swiss off of that support. So all the trades we kind of looked at earlier have all kind of sorry, not US dollar Swiss, US dollar CAD. Everything we looked at earlier is kind of starting to move, but gold, liquidity run of the lows. Again, all setting up ahead of FOMC by the looks of things. Which way we're going, nobody knows, but I would suggest we're looking for a strong US dollar out the back of it, just by the way everything's going at the moment. But could well get that sort of movement. We don't know, do we? So I won't be watching it or trading it. I will see the aftermath of it though, and we'll obviously analyse it tomorrow. I'm going to cancel this pending off. There's not much point. It's a tiny little trade with a massive stop loss. It's not worth my time to worry about it. So I'm just going to stay flat for the rest of the afternoon. If we do get up here on the Dow, I'm just going to set a little alert up here. Yeah, so set an alert on the Dow. If we do get up to there on the Dow, I'm going to monitor that area and potentially look to take a short with a stop somewhere above that high and see if we can get a little bit of an hour or so's movement. It's going to take probably an hour or so to get there, an hour or so to come out of it if that happens. And then that gives us an hour's grace ahead of FOMC, in which case I'll try and hold a Dow trade short. Obviously, if we get massive upward movement on the US dollar, that tends to drive the indices down. So that's what I'd like to see happen. If that sets up, I'll take that. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to sit on my hands this afternoon. It's just whipsaw rubbish at the moment. I've managed to make just under 0.5%. No, about 0.5%, which is okay, but hard. Or go down to low time frames, drop down to M1. M1 you'll still get potential trades on, but you want to be in and out fast and just really, really scalp. But as you can see, even there, you just got to be lucky. You're going to catch one of these big ones really this afternoon. Let's see if Kiev decides actually it does want peace. You never know. They might change their mind, in which case the market will fly up again. But we'll see. It's all FOMC setups. So, 6 o'clock, FOMC and the rates. If that comes out as expected, it's factored into the market. We probably see a whipsaw. If that comes out at 0.75, which is the other alternative, which is them putting a double rate hike in place, we will probably find the market will fly one way or the other, because the market will not be expecting that and it will need to reposition itself and fundamentally shift. So nothing's happened off the back of retail. We didn't get an awful lot off of CPI for the CAD, so it's all setting up for this. And then obviously, whatever happens, we're going to have the press conference afterwards, and they will be probed in the press conference as to what's going to be happening next. And obviously, that will have a fundamental shift potentially as well. So, the usual, if FOMC moves is whipsaw, and then press conference is the movement. So, you know, I think I did the last FOMC, or was it was non-farm payroll? So quite often the way to trade it is to bracket order and see if you can get gathered. If it comes out as an unexpected figure, you will usually go and you won't look back. If it comes out as expected, you'll quite often find it a whipsaw. So looking at the US dollar and where they're likely to take it, you've got mid-range at the moment. You've got a high there and a low there. Everybody that entered long in the last week is sitting there. Everybody that's entered short in the last week is sitting there. So the Fed, regardless of what the Fed does, the manipulation would be either to take their stops or those stops and then run away in the opposite direction with them, or if it's unexpected, it could go either way. So you've got opportunities there. You could straddle it there and there from where we are now and hope that we can try and take that out the market. Or wait until they've taken a high and then short it. Or wait until they take the low and then long it. And obviously just use a reasonable stop so you don't get whipsawed. But likelihood is, which is what we usually see, is a big strong push to entice direction in one movement, and then as soon as they've got everybody long, your stops will be under there. They'll then come back down and they'll take everybody's stops out there. Everybody jumps in short, put their stops at the highs, and then they'll come back, take that liquidity and return to the mean, back to where they started. That's a typical FOMC move. But we'll see. We don't know what the rates are going to be. So plan. CAD yen, sell on M15. Let's have a look. Yeah, just rolling over now nicely. So CAD yen obviously is an H4 RSI extension, so we'd be looking to trade that on M15, extended above the 75. Same as it was there. Yeah, don't get too greedy on it. Bad news for the CAD. So yeah, reversal alert has just kicked in. So there's your entry right there. Nice propulsion moves there, potentially to aim for to the downside. But try not to get too greedy ahead of FOMC and be prepared for that sort of movement now. Same with the ADRs. Be careful of the ADRs because we're likely to see the market just sit sideways for a few hours. But yeah, good one. Could wait for the retest. So wait for it to push up and wait for retest arrow and then take short on the retest. Tricky. You got the M pattern there already though. So it's already looking like a nice reversal pattern there. See that whipsaw again there. Looked like it was all going nice and short, and then we've gone. Actually, we'll go long. Horrible. Don't trade it. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. So good luck this afternoon and this evening with FOMC if you're trading it. I'm not going to be trading it live or anything, and I won't be trading it. I won't be watching it. I get stung too much news trading. If I can, though, build that position here, I will do. But I'm not holding out too much hope that we're going to make it up there this afternoon. I've got a feeling we are just going to hold in an accumulation and see what happens from there. But if we do, that's my short. Otherwise, I shall be watching and seeing what happens tomorrow. Really? That's all we can do. So yeah, be wary of the news. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:50, usual time, and we will play the Open of Frankfurt. We'll do a little analysis of what's happened off of FOMC. We've got some other news, haven't we? Oh yeah, sorry. And the other thing you need to be aware of, obviously, is if you've got any Aussie dollars on, we've got 12:30 tomorrow morning. Oh, sorry, there's two more news events for New Zealand and Aussie. So we've got New Zealand dollar GDP released just before market close. No, market close is an hour earlier now, so just after. Is it 10 o'clock still? I can't remember. Anyway, I don't really pay any attention, but Yeah. In the Asian session, we've got 2 news events on Aussie and New Zealand. So if you've got any Aussie or New Zealand's on, be aware that you might get affected by those. Unemployment rates don't tend to do a massive amount, but GDPs quite often will. So be aware of those. And then tomorrow we've got Lagarde speaking in the morning, and then we've got the bank rates for the pound tomorrow. So again, another big day tomorrow for the pound. Fingers crossed that gives us a bit of pound strength coming through. We haven't had any for ages, and we're due some. So again, forecast 0.25% rise. We had change last time, didn't we? We were not expecting that last time. So we could well have, it's unlikely that we'll change from 900 because they're not going to say, actually, we're not going to increase rates moving forward. We've got to because of inflation. So we will see that 0.25%. If we see anything more than 0.25%, we'll get another big move tomorrow. So big news day tomorrow, and then a bit of a rest on Friday. All right. So have a good one. Good luck with FOMC, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:50.